Hello class, in this video we'll cover normalizing an Excel spreadsheet so that we can import the individual worksheets that we create into either Access or into OpenOffice. You'll see here's our original table, and we'll see this is comprised of actors and actresses, any year that they won an Oscar, along with their spouses. So for example, Meryl Streep was born June 22nd, 1949 in Summit, New Jersey. In 1982, she won Best Actress for Sophie's Choice. In 2011, Best Actress for Iron Lady. And in 1979, Best Supporting Actress for Kramer versus Kramer. And she's married to Don Gummer. The only problem with this table is what happens if Meryl Streep is fortunate enough to win a fourth Oscar. If she does, we'd have to create year 4, role 4, movie 4. This would disrupt the structure of this field, and while you can do that easily in Excel, we can't easily do that in Access. Because we're going to be implementing or importing these into Access, we first must normalize, go through the normalization process, then we can import the worksheets into Access. So the first thing we're going to do is first normal form. You'll want to make sure you watch the video on database or normalization that goes through the PowerPoint, and that'll make understanding this video much easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy all of this data. I'm going to go into our first normal form worksheet, paste everything in here, and then now I'm just going to make sure we can see everything here. So we'll double click, and now we can see everything, and it's all lined up. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to create, so anytime we have repeating groups, for example, year 1, role 1, movie 1, year 2, role 2, movie 2, year 3, role 3, movie 3, we're going to put these into separate records or separate lines. When we do that, we'll be placing this document in first normal form. The only issue with this is that when you put something in first normal form, you create duplicate data. But that's okay. We'll fix it as we go through second and third normal forms. Because Meryl Streep has won 3 awards, we're going to want 3 rows for her. So I'm just going to insert 2 rows. And then if we look at Tom Hanks has won 2 Oscars. So we're going to insert a row for him. And then J.K. Simmons, he's only won 1 Oscar, most recently for Whiplash this past year in 2014. So with Meryl Streep, what we'll do is we're going to copy this data, and then we're going to paste it in twice. And then what we want to do is we want to have each row represent each one of her movies. We'll eventually be getting rid of year 2 through movie 3 columns. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we preserve all the data that Meryl Streep has. So this first entry, we can leave it as year 1, 1982, Best Actress, Sophie's Choice. What we'll do for the second row is we're going to grab the year 2, role 2, and movie 2 information. And I'm just going to cut this, and then I'm going to paste it over here. You'll notice that now I've taken that out. And we're going to do the same thing for the third row or record. We're going to copy 1979, Best Actress, and Kramer versus Kramer. And now we're going to paste that into year 1 on Meryl Streep. Okay. So, and then we're going to do the same thing for Tom Hanks. Since he has 2 awards, we're going to create 2 rows. I'm going to paste this down, and then we're going to take his second Oscar for Forrest Gump, a great movie, and we're going to put that over here. So we can see at this point in time, year 1, role 1, and movie 1 represents all of the data. So now we can delete these columns. And then now we can just convert year 1 to year, roll 1 to roll, and movie 1 to movie. At this point in time, our table is now in first normal form. The only issue with this is we've created duplicate data. So what happens if we misspelled Meryl Streep in this column, or in this cell right here, A2, and we spelled it with or one E there and two E's here? At that point in time, we'd create inconsistencies with our data. So the second we take our table into first normal form, we'll always take it into second and third normal forms. So let's do that now. To put something in second normal form, we're going to look at logical groupings. So we can take actor, date of birth, and born. That all relates to Meryl Streep. And then we could take year, role, and movie. We can make that into a table. And then we could take spouse data and make that into a third table. So let's do that. I'm going to copy out our first normal form information here. I'm going to go into actor's normal form. And then we said we can get rid of year, role, movie, and spouse. So when we get rid of this, we'll delete, and then now we're going to get rid of any duplicate data. So we can see in row 2 and 3, that's duplicated. Let me expand this out to make this a little bit bigger. So we can see that now we have duplicates with Meryl Streep. So I'm going to delete these two rows. And then Tom Hanks has a duplicate. So at this point in time, we have tables that just have single data in it. We just have Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, and J.K. Simmons. Part of second normal form is also creating a primary key that will uniquely make each table unique, stand by itself. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, and 3, and we'll see that our primary keys must be unique, and they cannot be null or blank. So let's do the same thing. We're going to copy this data from first normal form. We're going to go into Oscar, second normal form. And then let's get rid of the actor, date of birth, and born information. Then let's get rid of spouse data. Okay, so now let's expand this out so you can see everything, and let's zoom to 200% again. So if we look at each of these tables, each one of these tables are unique as is. Even though there's best actor, best actress, the years are different as well as the movies. So we're fine leaving this as is, but we still need to create a primary key. What I'll typically do is take whatever the category is, like Oscars here, and we'll do Oscar ID. Okay, then we're going to do 1, 2, and then I'm just going to autofill these guys down and be lazy here. Okay, so now we have a unique number, 1 through 6, and none of these are null. All right, so now let's go over to spouse. So we're going to copy 1NF, and then we're going to put this in spouse. Okay, so we're going to delete all this data. Okay, I'm sure now many of you are probably thinking, we're getting rid of all this data. How's this going to work? We'll see. This is going to be the power of relational databases. Even though we're getting rid of all the data, we'll be able to exactly create what we have in first normal form over an access through the use of primary and foreign keys. So let's see. So here's another trick to do to get all unique numbers. If you click on column A, If you go into data, you could click this remove duplicates, and that'll automatically remove all the as well. So that's a quick shortcut. So let's do view, zoom out to 200% so you can see this. Okay. And then now let's add another primary key here. So this will be spouse ID. We have 1, 2, 3. All right. So now we have each of our tables. So we have second normal form, or actor second normal form, Oscar second normal form, and spouse second normal form. What we want to do now is create and put this into third normal form. And we'll do that. What I usually do is just create a working sheet that we won't import, and we're just going to kind of use this as a scratch pad. So let's take each of our tables. So we're going to copy this and put this into working. Okay, and then we're going to copy Oscar's second normal form. And you don't have to do you won't have to do this for the assignment. I just want everybody to see kind of where this all came from. And then let's go to spouse second normal form. So in this third normal form, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create relationships that link all these tables together. So we're going to create, I'm going to copy this data as well, first normal form. You'll see this will make it easier for us. Okay. So what we're going to do then is you have to come up with relationships, and per the previous video, we're going to have, in this lesson, we're only going to have one-to-one and one-to-many relationships. Many-to-many relationships is an advanced topic, and will typically, so you'll do that if you go into CISC151 or if you take a database course later on throughout school. So the first thing we want to do is relate actor and Oscar tables together. And I'm going to just make these all borders here. This will make it a little bit cleaner for us and easier to see. All right. So right now we can say that an actor can have many Oscar awards, but an Oscar award can only have one actor. If we look down in our first normal form, we'll see that, this creates a one-to-many relationship. Again, one actor can have many Oscars. One Oscar can only have one actor. Therefore, on a one-to-many relationship, we'll take a copy of our primary key and place that over into our table, into the many side. So let's put actor ID, and the foreign key is just going to be a copy of the primary key. We said our primary keys cannot have any duplicates and cannot be blank. Our foreign keys actually can be duplicated, but they can't be blank. So if we look at this, if we look at the movie Sophie's Choice, we can come over. Let me make the screen a little bit larger for us. I'm going to take this up to, let's take it up to 150%. Okay, so if we look at this table, we can see that Sophie's Choice was won by Meryl Streep. If we look over into our, actually let me back this down to 125%. That'll make it easier. All right, there we go. All right, so if we look at Sophie's Choice, that was won by Meryl Streep. In our actor ID column, we can see that Meryl Streep was number 1. So we're going to put a 1 here. If we go down and look at the Iron Lady, we can say that that was also Meryl Streep. So this is going to be 1. Kramer versus Kramer was Meryl Streep. As we get down to Philadelphia, we'll see that this was Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is actor number 2. So we're going to put a 2 here. And then the next one is also Tom Hanks with Forrest Gump. And then if we look at Whiplash, that is J.K. Simmons. So J.K. Simmons happens to be 3, so we'll put a 3 here. So at this point in time, we now have actor and Oscar ID tables related to each other. The next thing we have to do then is create a relationship between actor and spouse. So if we look at actor and spouse relationship, one actor can have one spouse, and one spouse only has can only have one actor as a spouse as well. So this is a one-to-one relationship. In a one-to-one relationship, it does not matter which table has the primary key as a foreign key into the other table. So let's just put actor ID over here in spouse table. Okay. And then if we look at Don Gummer, we see that he is married to Meryl Streep, and Meryl Streep happens to be 1. If we look at Rita Wilson, she is married to Tom Hanks, and since Tom Hanks is 2, we're going to put a 2 over here. And then Michelle Schumacher is married to J.K. Simmons, and he's 3. So this was just a working table, but what we have to do now then is we have to update our Oscar and spouse forms to put them in third normal form. Since we did not make any changes to spouse, we can leave this, or I'm sorry, to actors, we can leave the actor's second normal form or worksheet as is. But what we need to do is for the Oscars, we'll copy all of this, and then we're going to put that into this table. Let me make all these so you can see them. Okay, and we'll see that they have actor ID now added, so that's Oscar's third normal form. And we're going to go back into working, and then we're going to copy this information for spouse. And then we'll have to create a spouse third normal form table right here. All right, so at this point in time, we're ready to import all of our data into, so we're first going to save this, and then we're going to import this in the next video into Access. So let's break here and then create another video that's going to import the data into Access. And then we'll go from there. All right, see you in a couple minutes.